I love Sophie Kinsella and I love Sophie Kinsella's writing, and jumping into this book was a real treat. I had some laughs and I loved being sort of in a Sophie Kinsella world again, but I do have a couple of issues with this book. Today is going to be a review of Love Your Life by Sophie Kinsella. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel at least twice a week, and then movie reviews or book to movie content here at the weekend. Welcome to another Vlogmas video. I have a standalone spoiler-free book review for you today, and I will leave my Vlogmas playlist linked up above in case you have missed any videos. In the description box, you will find all of my social links, including my blog and my Goodreads, so you can keep up with my reading in between times. And I do have a full written review of this book over on my blog and my Goodreads. So yes, this is the UK cover of Love Your Life by Sophie Kinsella, and this is the US cover. They are both very blue covers, and very interesting. I think it's really interesting that the characters on both of them look very different, and kind of this does look a little bit like Matt, but this doesn't really look like Ava in my head. And yeah, Matt looks very much the same, but Ava looks very different on these two covers, which is interesting. I didn't really take that into consideration when I was reading it. I have reviewed Sophie Kinsella novels on this book before, and I do have other rom-com type writers that I also review on this channel, so I'll leave my book reviews playlist linked up above as well. Let me read you the synopsis of this one, and then we will discuss my thoughts on this book. So where are we? She believes in Ava, romantic, but she thinks love should be found in the real world, not on apps that filter men by height, job, or astrological sign. She believes in feelings, not algorithms. So after a recent breakup and dating app debacle, we've all had one of those, she decides to put love on hold and escapes to a remote writer's retreat in coastal Italy. She's determined to finish writing the novel she's been fantasizing about, even though it means leaving her close-knit group of friends and her precious dog Harold behind. At the retreat, she's not allowed to use her real name or reveal any of her personal information. When the neighbouring martial arts retreat is cancelled and a few of the attendees join their small writing community, Ava, now going by Aria, meets Dutch, a man who seems too good to be true. The two embark on a baggage-free whirlwind love affair, cliff jumping into gem-coloured Mediterranean waters and exploring the splendour of the Italian coast. Things seem to be perfect for Aria and Dutch, but then their real identities, Ava and Matt, must return to London. As their fantasy starts to fade, they discover just how different their personal worlds are. From food choices to annoying habits to sauna etiquette, definitely one of the bits that made me laugh. Are they compatible in anything? And then there's the prickly situation with Matt's ex-girlfriend, who isn't too eager to let him go. As one mishap follows another, it seems while they love each other, they just can't love each other's lives. Can they reconcile their differences and find one life together? So yes, there's much talk of like mishaps and miscommunication, and those bits definitely did make me laugh. And then we have the talk of Ava's friendship group and Harold, and this is where it feels like a real classic Sophie Kinsella novel, like early shopaholic novels, like Undomesticated Goddess, Can You Keep a Secret type of novel. Lots of things going wrong for our main character, but her having wonderful friendships and, you know, a cute dog and a quirky apartment to keep her going. And the friendships that Ava has and also that Matt has in this book are definitely what makes it a really kind of realistic type of rom-com, because they are like chosen family. They are the people that you would have Friendsgiving with. They are the people that, you know, if you are living in a big city like London, as they are, you would probably put one of these people down as your emergency contact so they could come if something happened to you at work. And I really, really like Ava's friendship group because they are eclectic, and one of them does have a chronic illness. This is not a spoiler, but I like the fact that it is explored fully in the book, the ups and the downs of it. And we have the whole thing of, you know, she has a blue badge for her chronic illness, and not all disabilities are visible, and we have a neighbour who constantly challenges her about the blue badge. Again, this is very true to life. I've been with my mum when she's been challenged about her blue badge, and so I like that very, very realistic storyline. However, I do have some misgivings about the romance aspect of this. At some points, I did feel like, and this is very unique to me, this is my take on it, but I often connect a lot more with British rom-coms and British romance writers than I do with US rom-coms and US romance writers when it comes to books, and to some extent when it comes to movies as well. I don't know, there's just a feeling about it that I think that kind of dating in the UK is different from dating in both a big city and a small town here in the US. I do think it is a different thing. If you've watched both UK and US Love Island, they're very different things. And so, you know, naturally a romance is going to be different, whether it's based in the UK or the US, whether it's written by a US writer or a UK writer. And a lot of the parts of this felt like it had almost been written to cater to more of a US audience than a UK audience, whereas we have these UK characters living in London, doing things in the London dating scene. And this idea of them meeting and not having any baggage at the beginning of the relationship when they're on this retreat, which is in Italy and is beautifully described. And I love the idea of this writer's retreat. It sounds fantastic. But I was just like, oh, that rung alarm bells straight away. I didn't like the idea that this no baggage basically meant that they didn't tell each other about their kind of like raison d'etre. We don't know what has motivated them to come to this point. And that doesn't mean that the characters are underdeveloped and unmotivated, but I feel like if I met someone and we were like no baggage, I'd be like, yes, but why are you the way you are? What has, you know, shaped you in your past? I need to know about some of the things that kind of like drive you and some of the things that sort of hold you back, and this idea of having no baggage. And so I feel like their relationship got off on this really wrong foot, and so it made me uncomfortable the entire way through as we were watching this, like, will this relationship develop once they're back home, will it not? And I kept thinking, well, I don't see why it should, because it was almost like built on a lie, but not an active lie, like a passive lie. And that just really irked me the whole way through. We also have the fact that Ava goes off on this writer's retreat and is trying to finish her novel, and obviously sort of works as a writer. She does some like freelance writing stuff, and it's referenced once when she's asked about a leaflet that she's been working on, but then we really don't revisit her writing career until we get to the end of the book. And that also kind of irked me a little bit, because we have these people coming together and it's a bit like, you know, these 22-minute sitcoms where, oh, I've just come back from work, but we kind of like don't see them having any kind of connection with their work. We don't see them complaining about work, or we see them having an expendable income, but we don't see them having a job that would give them this kind of income to have this kind of lifestyle. And I felt like Ava was this kind of one-dimensional character in that sense, because we had her having a career at the start, and then it's referenced once, and then it's not until towards the end that we go back to her writing again. And that was interesting. And yet when we meet Matt's group of friends, Matt is, a lot of his character is based around his job because he works within his family business. And again, that's not a spoiler, but we kind of constantly come back to Matt's job, come back to Matt's job, come back to Matt's job. And even his two friends that he shares his flat with, we talk about their careers as well, and they talk about Matt's career, and Ava talks about Matt's career, and Ava's friends talk about Matt's career, and yet Ava's career isn't mentioned. And Ava's friends' career, to a certain extent, are also not mentioned until it's discussed that, you know, one of them might be interested in politics like one of Matt's friends is. And that kind of like sat really uncomfortably with me as well, because it seemed very, very anti-feminist, and yet feminism and things being anti-feminist are discussed in the book, to do with like one of the major topics that's discussed further on in the book. And so it really surprised me that it does seem like a lot of emphasis is put on Matt's career, and then we get no discussion at all until we get a little bit further in of Ava's career. And sort of Matt even kind of talks about the fact that maybe she's a bit flaky because she kind of like starts things and doesn't finish them, but she's obviously decided to go down this road of being a writer because she's gone on this writer's retreat, and that kind of bothered me a little bit as well. I love the idea that Ava is very kind of like anti-waste, and this obviously like a very sort of on-trend topic right now. She recycles all her stuff. Her bed is rescued. She rescues books. Harold is a rescue dog, and then she's vegetarian, and she talks about the idea of like whether she wants children, or, you know, but should she ask Matt if he wants children? Maybe he doesn't, because he doesn't want to add to the like, you know, population, and should she foster or adopt? And so I like that. I like the fact that that is discussed. And then kind of when it comes to when they do start to find out things about each other, and we do go down that line of like, can they reconcile their differences to find one life together? A lot of the time Ava is kind of mad about stuff that Matt is holding back or hasn't told her because she hasn't asked. And she is kind of, you know, one of the things that comes out, again, it's not really a spoiler because it's here about, you know, Ava and her kind of the introduction to her character, but the fact that she is vegetarian, and then she discovers that Matt is not vegetarian because the retreat they went on was a vegetarian retreat, and so he had no choice but to be vegetarian whilst he was on the retreat. And then she really, really wants him to change and to become vegetarian, and he's like, that's just, you know, not something that I'm really willing to do. I'm happy to cut back on meat because it's more sustainable for the environment and what have you. But a lot of the stuff is very, very focused on her wanting him to change. And a lot of the things that she does in her life are kind of at odds with the things that Matt has in her life. And he kind of, if he mentions it about her life, it's a very big deal. But when she mentions it, it's like, but why hasn't he changed? And again, that seems very anti-equality. It seems like the man has to change. And if he dares to suggest that she should change something about her life, oh, how dare he? This is a massive issue. And I don't know. It just seems very unlike what I come to expect from a Sophie Kinsella novel, and what I come to expect from where we're at with rom-coms and romance novels in this day and age. And so I was quite surprised, and it really did like make me uncomfortable, the fact that it was quite unequal, and I felt a little bit sorry for Matt. And throughout the process I was kind of like, this is a red flag. I'm not sure that these two people should be having a relationship. Here's another red flag. I'm not sure that these two people should be having a relationship. And so, unlike most rom-coms I read, I really wasn't that willing to like root for them to be together. And again, we're not giving any spoilers as to what happens throughout the novel. But yeah, things I definitely liked about this: the writing style, the humor, the feeling, and the fact that it tackles a chronic illness, and the fact that it's kind of modern living with found and chosen family, and the fact that not everybody can afford to live on their own in London, like that. But then there was these massive red flags for me with kind of like anti-feminist ways and sort of deception and just not the way you want to go into a relationship, which for it being a rom-com and being about the romance means that it was kind of overall cast this big shadow on it. So I'm really, really torn about whether I can say that I enjoyed this novel or not. I think perhaps, having talked through my thoughts with you here, that this was a miss for me. I enjoyed the process of listening to it, and I really enjoyed being back with Sophie Kinsella's writing, because she does have such a way. But I think overall it just missed the mark for me and made me too uncomfortable for me to fully enjoy it, which I hate saying about one of my favourite authors, but you know, we can't all like everything. Yeah, let me know in the comments, do you think I didn't like this novel? Help me out here. Have you kind of come across this in anything that you've read recently, or is there a particular author you love everything that they do except maybe one book? And also do let me know in the comments if there is anything else you would like to see videos wise, vlog wise, this December. I am happy to make vlogs on demand here on this channel. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that my next Vlogmas video lands in your subscription feed. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will be back with another video for you tomorrow, so I will see you then. Thanks for watching.